Monday, and it's going to be a short week as we get into the stuff here. I guess it's November 25th. No tie games since we only have today or tomorrow. You can't really have a pattern with only one day because I'd have to show you the answer tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
Big picture homework we're going to talk about in a moment, and same thing with quizzing thing tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But I think we should record there we go. Homeworky bits, just to go over it. I'm going to try to give you guys some help to help you out with it. But again, make sure you read the directions. As far as it, again, you're picking one of the 6 pictures, write 3 similes, write 3 metaphors, answer Finfo's question.
Can I check my grade on that?
I haven't graded it yet, so yes, it should still be a 0. The reason being is that I have kids who are going back and fixing it as I've been going through and helping them. Here's information to help you with quiz. Not quiz, homework. I apologize. So do not reuse a simile into your metaphor. Like, do not reuse the same nouns. You cannot go, Lucas's shirt is like a cherry, and then go, Lucas's shirt is a cherry, and then think you're a special smart child. You can, but then I give you a 0 and then make you fix it. If you give me weak ones, I would make fun of Bella, but she's not here to make it easy on me. But if you went to the Bella School of Similes and Metaphors, where you will use all 3 or 4 words, like, the fish is an orange, the fish is like an elephant, I'm going to give you a C at best, because those are kind of trash. I am looking for you to put some thought and meaning into your actual writing. As in, the fish is a giant sun in the man's hands. Ooh. The fish is like a hippo floating in the air. Ooh. I'm looking for something along those lines where you put actual thought into it. If you don't, that's fine, but then if you don't put thought into it, I don't have to put thought into your grade. And in the bottom part, if you don't follow any of those directions, I give you 0 because they're not hard to follow. Make sure you write the picture number. If you don't write down the number, I don't know which picture it is, I give you 0. Label which ones are similes and which ones are metaphors so I know you know the difference, and then number them. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you should be good to go. If you realize now that you've submitted yours and not followed those directions, then you can fix it if you want, and then I'll go through and grade them. Otherwise, you should know what your grade is going to be is either a 0, a 70%, or probably 100%. If you followed all the directions and gave me really good ones, yay, I'll give you A+. If you didn't follow one of the directions, I give you a 0. If you follow the directions but they're kind of crappy, I give you a 70%. So hopefully that'll sort of help you out from there. Now, are there any questions? Yay! Then, let's get back to poetry stuff.
No.
So with poetry, the way, because we're going to actually do a poem today, and we're going to get a chance to go through it, and the way I do poetry is a lot like how I do novels, and a lot like how I do short stories, and a lot like how I do everything. We're going to read it and then find things and try to treat it like a puzzle and solve it and figure out what's going into it and stuff like that. But before we do, we have 2 notesy things to write down to help you out. First notesy thing is where it says stanza. What is a stanza?
The paragraph
In?
Poetry.
Just like that. Paragraph in a poem.
See, that's what I just saw.
Since we're no longer doing short stories and books, we're done with those paragraph things. And so we get to move on from paragraphs, and we're going to go to where it says stanza. By the way, on your paper, what have you written right above where it says stanza?
My name.
My name.
First name?
And
Just checking. Not that anyone got a new paper today. Might think to not write it down and try to help them. Oh, with our stanzas, let's go back. With paragraphs, how do you know where one paragraph ends and the next paragraph begins?
the line.
Indented. If you look on your handout in front of you, there's like no indenting anywhere on there. So does that mean we have no stanzas?
Yep.
No! It means with poetry, you don't look for indents. What do you look for instead?
The space between
There
The
you
big
go.
space.
So separated by big space. So make sure when you're figuring out stanzas, you're looking to find out where the big space is, and that's how you can do it. And then we're going to practice counting a couple stanzas just to make sure we're good. Because in a moment, we're going to have you guys get a chance to read. And I'm going to say things like, Tommy, your stanza number 1. Caroline, your stanza number 2. And that way we can make sure that you know which stanza it is and you're not just like randomly freaking out. Speaker is the last thing we're going to do before we get to the poem. And a speaker is not the thing on your phone that allows you to hear things. It is also not the person who writes the poem. It's not the person who reads the poem. Tommy?
It's the thing that plays music.
It's a thing that plays. No, that would be the thing that's on your phone. But a good try, Tommy. That was not worthy of a high five. Eden?
Yeah, the narrator.
Are you asking me? I need confidence.
The narrator of the poem.
I mean, he was completely wrong and he was confident.
The narrator of the poem.
Eden is correct. It's the, don't die. It's the character talking to us in the poem. So the speaker, that was high five worthy.
I'm so thirsty.
So the speaker, not every poem has a speaker. Some poems are boring and they're just like fluffy cloud poems. Like, there's a fluffy cloud. It's cotton candy in the sky. Float, cotton candy, float. Best poem ever, period. That one doesn't have a speaker. Most of my poems that we do will have speakers because I try to find ones I think are not boring. And a lot of times that involves telling a story in the poem, and oftentimes you're going to have a speaker talking to you. Today's poem does have a speaker, but it's a mystery, and you have to try to solve the mystery to find out who the speaker is. Benjamin?
What's up, Benjamin?
Bad idea.
Benjamin.
Probably. So, let's take a practice looking at stanzas. So I'm going to give you a poem, and you're going to hold up how many fingers you think represent the number of stanzas in there. Here's your hint. No poem that I'm going to show you is more than 2 hands. So if you get to the point where you're like, I'm running out of fingers, I got to use a toe, then you've gone too far. So I'm just giving you a heads up. You should be able to use fingers for all of this. Here's your first poem. That's not the first poem. Here's your first poem. There's your first poem. And then you get to do.
What are you doing, Ben?
He's a special boy.
I know, right?
So how many big spaces do we have?
1.
So you go stanza, Matt, stanza. Good job for those of you who
Good
said
job, Ben.
11.
Excuse me?
Let's give you another one. This will be slightly tougher.
Yeah, you said 15.
This one's also on the back side of your paper if you want to look at it there, if that makes it easier on you. I'm not sure how good your eyes are. Ooh. We should have either gone on to your second hand or for one of you, your foot. But here again, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am now going to give you the toughest poem I can find to see how well you are good. Again, fingers and for one kid, toes. It's called Injust by this guy named E.E. Cummings, who's a special man. I figured this was as challenging as I could make it. We'll see how well we do there.
That's a little bit weird. I don't like it.
That is.
That's a whole
So, let's see how good we are. I will point and you will count. We have
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did it!
I said that.
I did it! I did it! I got 19!
I did it.
We did it!
good job. I'm so proud of you. So on your paper, look over where it says that one of the 7 has somewhat to say. Not a real long poem, so this is one we're going to take a look at as we get a chance to go through. I'm also, as we do poems, going to have you guys get a chance to read poems. You're not just always listening to my voice. You are more than welcome to volunteer to read if you want. If not, I get to look into your souls and see which one you guys want to read from there. Do we have anyone that wants to read them, or do I get to look into souls? Evan, would you like to do stanza number 1?
Yeah.
You can. Do we have a soul for stanza number 2? And then, all right, Ben, we'll give you stanza number 2.
Good job, Ben.
So, hang on. Before they get a chance to read, we're going to do stanza 1, but poem has a speaker in it. Here's what I want you to look for. 3 things, and you have to find evidence. 1, is the speaker a dude or a chick? And give me evidence to prove they're a dude or chick. 2, what would be the speaker's job using evidence? They don't come out and tell you the job. They're going to give you like evidence, like, I use drills and I go on the teeth, and the teeth make the little mer 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 sound, and I get rid of cavities. And then, there you go. So you're going to have to use clues in there to figure it out. And then finally, clues as to what they look like, because they're not going to come right out and be like, I have red hair. They're going to be like, I'm like Wendy's. And when you go get your hamburger, and I have my little pigtails, you have to figure out the clues from there. All right. So, gender, job, look like.
Where do we write it?
In your brain. You don't have to write it down unless you want to. This is just, you're going to be able to tell me a thing.
I know what to do.
That would be our speaker. All right. One of the 7 has somewhat to say, being read by Evan Dean.
7 doors.
Oh, sweet. Remember how it was before she came? The picks and shovels beside the door, the sink piled high, the meals any old time. Our jackets where we'd flung them on the floor. The mud tracked in, the clutter on the shelves. None of us shaved more than halfway clean. Just 7 old black bachelors living by ourselves. Those are the days, if you know what I mean.
Thank you, Evan.
Good job.
All right. So now that you've heard it once and you have some idea, I will go through and give a quick reading of it again, and then I'm going to see if you guys can first off tell me gender, and then job, and then what they look like.
I can't.
All right.
Job.
You can't?
I can.
You can. Well, then hold on a second. We'll have you can it.
Good job.
One of the 7 has somewhat to say. Remember how it was before she came? The picks and shovels dropped beside the door. The sink piled high. The meals any old time. Our jackets where we'd flung them on the floor. The mud tracked in. The clutter on the shelves. None of us shaved or more than halfway clean. Just 7 old bachelors living by ourselves. Those were the days, if you know what I mean. So, step 1. Is the speaker a dude or a dudette?
Dude.
Where's your evidence to prove it's a dude?
Oh, here.
Lava, 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 lava.
Bachelor.
What's a bachelor?
A boy.
A guy who is like available to like date or marry someone.
I was going to go sing, but sure, it works for me. Those of you who have watched your reality TV, what is an unmarried woman?
Bachelorette.
Guess why? Who would have thought watching TV would make you smarter? But yes, bachelor is your evidence. Okay, hold on. So there's our bachelor, because apparently he is an unmarried man. Ooh, does our unmarried man live by himself?
No.
How many roommates does he have? 6 plus this other person who shows
It's a
up.
girl.
But when it says 7 old bachelors, and the fact that it's him plus the 6 others, ooh, what age is he?
27.
Oh, well, hopefully we're not saying 47 and old at the same
I
time.
don't know.
Why do you say old?
63.
Because it's like it's all like all this
It
like
said
back and
7
minded.
old bachelors.
Good job, Evan. Right there in the poem that it says old. So that's what I look for, is you guys to be able to use the evidence.
He's like
Hi, Eden.
Just another piece of evidence leading to him being a guy. It's because it says none of us shave more than halfway clean. So
Girls cannot shave.
yeah.
So
but
here's the issue. I have people who bring that one up, but I've got a feeling if we were to look at some shins of girls in this class, there's every chance we have some fuzz-free shins in here, and there is every chance we're going to count that as shaving. Either that or a lot of girls are just nibbling it off. And that
shaving your face.
does it say face?
No.
It does not. Now, if it said faces, I would count that unless we were talking about like grandma who has to shave like little fuzzy stuff. But it doesn't say face, so it just says shaved. Henry?
There's like a circus.
Correct.
Like, where like the girl
The
has,
bearded
like, a
woman.
beard.
Good job. So we're not
job.
talking about that either. But we can jump into that as our next bit of evidence. Eden, what evidence do we have as to what our speaker looks like?
It says that he the shaving part.
There you go.
There.
I know. So here's the part where if he's not shaved, what does that tell us about his
He
look?
has a beard.
Half
And a
beard,
mustache.
half beard.
He's Mr.
Brovicast.
And so apparently without being shaved, he's got a little beard and mustache action going on that one. Now, it doesn't come out and tell you what the job is, but there is evidence. What is your evidence as to the
It
job?
says he's a bachelor.
That's not a job. I know being single is a lot of work, but I don't think it's a job. Lucas,
think the mud tracked in.
I would take mud being tracked in as part of the evidence. Caroline?
Picks and shovels.
I would take picks and shovels as being part of the evidence. Will?
Farmer.
Construction or farming.
He's a
So you're giving me a guess, which is good, but is that in the poem?
No.
So is there any other evidence to the job before I take guesses as to what the job is?
The coat
Elena?
on the floor.
She made them. Oh wait, that's in the second paragraph.
It's a good try, Lynn. All right, so then I would agree we have mud tracked in. So in that case, what would be your guesses as to the job?
Farmer.
Farmer, miner,
I'm a minor.
blue collar worker,
They won the lottery and they're making a basement.
and they're making
basement.
sure. I am glad that none of you yelled out grave digger, which I did have earlier.
I'm a
So,
minor.
I was a little disturbed. That was a kid's first guess. They went, grave digger. And I went, what? And they're like, well, isn't that what you do with it? I'm like, it is, but why was that the first place your brain went?
Because
I'm
I do
assuming-
it on a regular basis.
I'm assuming, again, that's just the joy of being in my class, that you're just like, well, there's got to be death somewhere. And so you're just assuming that a grave was going to get dug on that one. And then as far as the, oh, hi, Henry.
They might be Fortnite players in real life because that
They're
is
chopping down the trees.
Good job.
Big
Good
axe.
job.
Might be the teacher
That is where a lot of people first learn what a pickaxe is when
And
they're
then you
going
can
around.
dig graves in Fortnite.
I would not recommend trying to chop down a real tree. By the way,
I will.
since we went for the idea of Fortnite, what job could you have if you're chopping down trees?
A
I mean, it could be a lumberjack also. Which is like a grave digger for trees.
He's a
And-
hillbilly.
So we don't know yet, but we know some girl has shown up in the poem, and apparently this girl
The
is
cleaning lady.
gonna change things. I mean, aren't all women? But from there,
Oh, what the heck?
thank you. You're supposed to fight me on that, not just go like, oh,
What
yeah, it's
the
supposed to be.
Well,
Did you say
Yes.
Good job. I have daughters. I teach them to fight back on stuff like that, not just accept a good
That's
insult.
not okay.
I know
I have
that.
that video.
In poem, what is, oh, since this woman, they're talking about before woman arrived, how did they keep their house?
Dirty.
So what kind of things did they do as your evidence that they kept it dirty?
Clean.
Clutter on the shelf.
Clutter on shelves?
They
Mud
did
trash.
it
Sink.
You really like the mud. Mud, Lucas is staying with the theme.
nutshell.
clean. They did it clean.
That's not in the poem, we're looking for evidence. Henry?
The sink piled high.
And so I'm guessing with dishes in the sink piled high, so we'll
Why'd you
go.
guys not clean?
Yeah. And so we have tons of just messy stuff everywhere.
Is that you?
And they're talking about before she showed up.
Yeah, right here.
And, alright. I think, Binta, we're ready for stanza 2.
Good job, Benson.
Where we get to find out a bit more about this girl who may or may not be a cleaning woman. We're not going to assume things just because she's a female.
Hadley.
Are you assuming my gender?
A little bit.
I am assuming her gender from her pronoun. It's called evidence. Binta, on this one, hang on, we're going to find out what has changed as we talk about now that she is there. Now, Binta.
She scrubs, she sweeps, she even dusts the ceiling.
What?
That's one sentence. Keep going.
She's made us build a tool shed for our stuff. Dinner's at 8, the table setting's formal, and if I weren't afraid I'd hurt her feelings, I'd move until we get her married off. And things can gradually slip back to normal.
Thank you, Binta.
Yeah, good job.
Now, I agree with your pausing for dusting the ceiling is on the weird side, but we'll talk about that. She scrubs, she sweeps, she even dusts the ceilings. She's made us build a tool shed for our stuff. Dinner's at 8, table setting's formal. If I weren't afraid I'd hurt her feelings, I'd move until we get her married off, and things can gradually slip back to normal. So, we have girl who has shown up, and what has girl changed?
Cleaning.
Cleaning. Specifically what?
She
girl.
lives. She made the
Like
ceilings
a normal
cleaner.
human being and cleans and
We're not judging them with their abnormal human beings, but what things specifically, again, evidence from poem, has she done? Binta,
She dusts the ceiling.
which really seems to bother you, but I would feel the same way. That seems a little extreme. Elena,
why is the girl in the dog black?
she's
Are you
not.
stupid? What's
dark
wrong with
skin.
that?
Are you
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Elena?
Yeah, what is wrong with that?
That's not her gender.
Yeah. Attack Elena, not me.
Are you assuming what's right?
I have no idea.
Elena feels offended.
I was trying to put people of different color into my pictures up there.
Why is
Trying
she
to
purple?
be inclusive.
Are you assuming her race?
Purple.
Are you saying she's playing Mickey Mouse, Elena?
So, originally, before this girl arrives, they could just eat their Pop-Tarts in front of the TV. What has changed now? Where's your evidence?
I'm raising my hand.
Oral settings
It said
at
that
the table.
she makes them eat at the table.
So now you have a formal dinner setting. Plus, in the first one, they would come home with their pickaxe from chopping down trees in Fortnite, and they would take their pickaxe and just thunk it right into the wall and leave it there. What has changed now?
Tool shed.
So now they have to have a tool shed for their stuff. Before, you could eat your Pop-Tart whenever you wanted to. Now, the exact same dinner time. Now, with all of these things going on, how does this guy feel about it? Apparently, he is unhappy about it, and he wants to move until eventually we can get her hitched to somebody. So, with Poem,
Sorry for the interruption. Just wanted you to know that email is down. They are aware of it, and they are in the process of working it out. Thank you.
That was so funny. Good joke.
so with Poem, the speaker in Poem is actually a famous character from a story that you guys should be familiar with.
Lottery.
No.
The Outsiders.
Elena. Well, the speaker is not Snow White.
It's the Seven Dwarfs.
It is one of the dwarfs.
What?
So it turns out,
Ooh, Ben.
when the title says one of the seven being the seven dwarfs. And so who is the she they're referring to?
Snow White.
That's Snow White. So in the poem, throughout the entire thing, you can even figure out who and which of the seven dwarfs it would be from the tone of the poem.
Grumpy's angry.
And that would be Grumpy. And so tone of the poem, where it comes across, where he seems to be upset and unhappy with all of this, gives you the idea that it is going to be Grumpy. And I thought it was kind of a fun poem, because that way you get to sort of have that speaker, and you get to sort of use the evidence in the poem to figure it out. That's how we go through and do stuff. Go back to notes. We're going to add one more note,
Thank you.
which is alliteration.
Oh, I know this one.
What is it?
Same.
It's saying constant sounds over and over and over and over.
Good job. We learned that Mrs. Val. You should tell her.
Yes.
We also had to do one.
You should tell Miss Rao that we're learning in both classes and that she should stop teaching alliteration.
Totally.
She should just stop.
Or the fact that it just made you smart in my class. Multiple words, all starting with the same sound or letter. Oftentimes, people's names will be that way. Like those of you who follow the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have people like Peter Parker, who have like that same name that gets
Nick
repeated
Fury.
over and over. Nick Fury, which is not an
Tony
example.
Stark.
Tony Stark, another one that's not an example.
Bruce Banner.
That would be one. You got it on the 5th try. And so you're gonna,
Bruce Wayne.
look at you guys naming all those ones that. Now, if it was Bruce Batman, that would work if his last name was Batman. Clark Kent does work, even though they are a C and a
Green
K.
Arrow.
It can be the same sound that connects to it.
Flash guy.
Wonder Woman.
There you go again.
Peter Parker. Miles Morales.
Our poem, we have an example of alliteration in the poem. There we go.
I'm gonna find it. Don't worry.
I can't read. That's a problem.
What stands is it in?
The second one.
Second one.
She scrubs. She sweeps. She even dusts the floor.
Yeah.
There you go.
That
Repetition of the S sound. She scrubs, she sweeps, she. And you can have words in between it. If it was like Bruce Wayne Batman, you can still have like a word between it as long as you have multiple words all
Bruce
with
Wayne
that
is
sound.
Batman.
Evan,
It also says where weed.
nicely done. Where weed, and not the weed, but weed apostrophe D. Oh, in the poem, we'll go back to the evidence thing. Does the speaker find evidence, hate the girl?
Yes.
Yes.
Find me evidence to prove does he hate the girl or not.
No.
Caroline.
He's afraid that he hurt her feelings.
So does he hate her?
No.
No.
So that would be your evidence, because if you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, that means you kind of like them. If you do want to hurt their feelings, that's when you make fun of them and bully them. Now, he does hate something. What does he hate?
What she
That's where the
does.
cleaning comes in. He does hate the cleaning. I mean, he is a guy. But it's not necessarily the girl he hates. Now, to help you guys out for the quiz tomorrow, I'm going to help you with a little review guide.
Okay.
At the bottom of your paper, you see where it says memory poem?
No.
No. I can't read.
I can. So, go down to this little bottom part where it says memory poem.
You have to write a poem.
Wait, you do?
Whoa!
But you said
Way back when we did short stories and you had to do characters and setting and plot and point of view,
No, thank you.
we're now going to help you remember similes and metaphors. So I'm getting ready to show you the poem. So here is the poem that starting tomorrow, you're going to start standing up and reciting to get 5 B points. I will read it out loud. This one again has dance moves that go along with it. So you have to know both the words and the dance moves. Here's where you don't have to write it down as long as you memorize it. I would recommend writing it down unless you want to memorize it right away. That's up to you. Starting tomorrow, it won't be up on the screen and we get to randomly pick you going off your souls. Here's how it starts off. You have the parts in blue you don't say. That is your action. The parts in black, that's the part you do say. So the poem goes, for the simile, like or as, you shall see. And you point to people. Because what words does a simile use?
Like and as.
So there you go. So that's why you put, for the simile, like or as, you shall see. Does the metaphor use those words?
No.
So that's why it says, but with the metaphor, use them no more. When it says, wave your hands back and forth, I don't mean like you're at a concert and you're all excited. It's like someone is trying to steal third and you're like, no, what are you doing? You crazy child. So you go, but with the metaphor, use them no more. So you know not to use them. Then, what is it similes and metaphors compare?
They compare nouns.
So the bottom part, I tried to stick with my rhyme scheme where you have simile, shall see, metaphor, no more, comparative to, but I put nouns. You will do, so I tried to keep it. So what we're going to do is have you whisper nouns into your shoulder. So you're going to go, the comparing of two nouns is what you will do. And that way you still remember nouns is there, but we can have the rhyming. Elena, you've been so patient. What's up?
You got it right.
Thank you.
Good job.
I worked really hard on this one. It took me at least 3.5 minutes. Benta,
Can I do it now?
in a moment, we have to practice it first.
No,
I
thank
know. I'm so proud of you for being so brave. So again, this is what it's going to look like. When you guys stand up, you go, for the simile, like or as, you shall see. But with the metaphor, use them no more. The comparing of two nouns is what you will do.
Why did your
Flex,
voice get so
flex.
high?
Because that's my 7th grade voice. You guys just all sound like squeaky little mice.
Yeah, it is.
I do like how you guys all fought me back by squeaking at me at the same time. Squeak, 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 Mr. Brovicast, squeak, 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 squeak. It's like a whole hurt.
Your voice is squeaky.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought there was a mouse in here.
Wow.
Are you gonna take that?
Yeah, Bentley.
Billy, are you gonna take that?
Yeah, squeak at me. So we're good there. So we're going to practice doing it together before we get a chance to give Benta a
Yeah,
chance
I'm
to be
gonna have
brave.
my lawyer call you, because you, are mean to me.
Oh, your lawyer's a fake lawyer.
I'm suing.
Shut up, I'm in 7th grade, I don't need a real lawyer.
The mouse is all over the place. It sounds like a really angry mouse. It's getting louder and louder.
It's actually probably over there.
Yeah, good. So I will
Oh
do
no,
a
it's over
little
there. Yeah, it's
pointy
over
bits
there.
as we go through. Then I'm going to make it disappear, and we'll see how well you do. We have
For the simile, like or as you shall see. But in the metaphor, use them no more. The comparing of two
So it shouldn't be too surprising that some of you have struggles in this area where it requires you to whisper, and apparently some of our voices don't go down low enough.
Yeah, Ben.
As I was listening to you go, the comparing of two meows, I'm like, well, that it almost sounds like a whisper. I think that explains a lot. Let's see if we practice it again. He's not going yet. We're going to have all of us do it again, this time without it on the screen behind me.
Feet everywhere.
And we have... So we did really well on stanza 1 and 2, and then that third one,
We did amazing.
we kind of just went, ah, right off a cliff. Tomorrow's quiz is going to give you guys like examples. You have to be able to tell me, is what I'm writing a simile, metaphor, none of the above? There's another part where you have to be able to tell me whether two nouns being compared, and there's another part where you have to tell me why the simile is writing a thing. So if I say that Amelia's shirt is the night sky, you have to be able to explain to me why. Is it because it's really large? Is it because there's stars on it? So be able to figure it out. If you can do that, then you should be good to go. Hadley!
Can I volunteer?
Tomorrow, yeah, but the bell's going to ring now.
I gotta get to go first though.